Hi, everybody. This is GM John Fedorowicz from New York. Nice weather today. It's December 3rd. Happy birthday to my nephew John, who lives in Aachen, Germany, and is married to a German girl. And we'll be starting shortly. And I hope everybody enjoyed the World Championship match. Some people thought it was boring, but maybe it's just chess. That's the way I try to look at it, and I think also it has something to do with Magnus's style. If maybe Koryakin played somebody else, there might be all Sicilian games, and then maybe it would be a little bit more exciting. Who knows? But anyway, congratulations to Magnus for winning and keeping his title. And hopefully he'll get a good rest. He doesn't have to play a match for a while. He must have been relieved when he played Queen H6 in that last game. A very cool move and a nice way to end the match. So congratulations to Carlsen for retaining his title, and congratulations to Sergei Koryakin, who just seems like a really nice guy, and also put up a heck of a fight and made it a good match and until overtime, where he lost the first game, and then after he lost the first game, it was basically over then, and that, of course, it's always nice to watch those games on the program, and we saw that on the program. What happened was, with the analysis, is that people thought that that game with the strong knight was equal, but I don't know. Maybe a computer could be equal, but human not. That knight on e3 was very strong, and even perhaps the computer programs think about pawns more than anything there. So good luck to everybody in the Simul. It should be starting by now, and I don't know. I saw that Sandro had a problem and left and came back, so he's back. So hopefully we'll start soon. Also, I didn't see who won the senior championship, but maybe I'll play in that next year. I saw it was a good tournament, and next year it's in Italy, and that could be a good thing. I might play in that, and I think I'm going to email the guy about playing in Hastings next year. It's too late, and so we'll have. Don't worry, Ears. Do your best though, and Ears is a good guy, and just do your best, and also play a more solid opening than last month. So that's the problem sometimes. I think my openings with black have gotten pretty solid due to the King's Indian getting mangled so much, and now I just play the Queen's Gambit. Spin Dock has a beer already. It's 2 o'clock. We should be getting started. It's past 2 o'clock. We should be getting started here. So I don't know what's going on. There might be some technical difficulties, but Spin Dock has a beer already. I don't know where Spin. Yes. Okay. Can they hear me, or should I do another countdown? Okay. So I don't know where Spin Dock is, but he's having a beer. It's a little too early here, and I don't think it would be a good idea if I drank a beer during the Simul anyway. I try to be professional, and there's no beer before Simul games, tournament games, or any kind of games for that matter. So I hope Spin Dock enjoys the Simul, and I don't know what kind of beer he has, but I hope it's a good beer. I remember when I went to Aachen for my nephew's wedding in Aachen, Germany. Of course, the German beer is amongst the best, so that was a lot of time. Very good. Spin Dock, 7 p.m. where he is, so maybe he's in England or somewhere over there, and he says the beer is acceptable. So so if we have one over short of 20, that's okay, or if we have 20, that's fine. Either way, we'll play the games and see what happens. And let's see, there's no live stream going on YouTube, so it's a black screen. So that's according to Dan, and we'll work on that and see what happens. So hopefully the song will get going, and we'll see what happens. British ale's okay. When I was in England, I think I was drinking. Somebody told me the Italian beer was good. A friend of my friend Ron from England, who lives in New York now, told me that when I go in, good afternoon, coffee mate. And Kim's Night is trying to join, but I think the Simal might be full. Oh, and now Spindock says he can hear me, so that's good. And maybe they can see my lovely face too. And I'm waiting for the boards to pop up. So I wish it would get started already. We're running late. It's 7 minutes late already, and we'll start right when the boards pop up. I'm ready to go, and so we'll have to see. Belgium, very good. Yeah, I like the Stella Artois. Is very nice in the United States. And although in the United States, if you go into like a regular bar, they don't take their beers too seriously, and it's just very upsetting that we don't take our beers seriously at all here. Sometimes you go into a restaurant, you ask for a beer, you get this flat-looking thing, and it's no bargain, the flat beers that you get here. I mean, I've had some pretty bad beers in the U.S. Whereas I remember when Joel Benjamin got me invited to tournaments in Ireland, and the Bunratty tournament is a very cool tournament. We had a time, and as Spindock says, beer makes my face look better. Thank you. I've seen people wearing T-shirts that to that kind of effect. So Sandro, the board's going to pop up. What's going on? So I'm here, and I'll just keep talking. I don't care, but here come the boards. Okay, good. So good luck to everybody. Hope you have a good time, and I'll see if I can put together a nice score. Okay, Havaniola, we played many times. He made me mad last month when perhaps a drawn position was played a little too long. Chess 24, we played a lot. I think I'm going to try E4 today. Cyber Demon, not sure if we played before, but welcome to the Simul. Dan 910712, I'll just call you Dan. And DVOS, we played before. Always good to hang out with some Canadian people. Duke Bishop. Ears, we played last month. And Eternal Warrior, we've played as well. And Future GMM, not sure that we've played before. And Heyen, we've played before. Indiana Fats, we've a very strong player we've played before, and I'm going to try E4 against him. I think I've played D4 against him a couple of times. Jesus Reigns, J. Russell 2, Cronus, I think it's our first time, and Pasqualino, we played a number of times. Sanguimagrams, I feel like we've played a few times too. Not really sure, though. I have a pretty good memory still. And Spindock, who's in England enjoying the beer during the Simul, I'm very jealous. Okay. Stamma and Trivial Pursuit we've played before, and now we're back to the beginning. So good luck, everybody. Have a good time, and sometimes I'll talk about other stuff. I'm glad the New York Giants are playing well this year so far. 8-3 is pretty good. And let's just talk about the openings here. Some Queen's Gambits, probably so far. Looks like Indiana Fats will get a Sicilian going. I believe that the open Sicilian is really the only way to go. When I'm teaching some kids, I teach them the C3 Sicilian to last them for a while. And of course, the Bishop B5 lines are solid too. But I only play that when I'm playing somebody strong. And I'm afraid of them, and I've used it to make some draws. and that's what happens sometimes. So. A lot of Queen's Gambits. Looks like Slav from Havaniola. Sanguinagrams looks like heading for Grunfeld, maybe a King's Indian. Duke Bishop, another Slav. Dan looks like Grunfeld. Jesus Reigns, another Slav. Pasqualino, classical E6 Queen's Gambit. From Cyber Demon, Queen's Gambit accepted. Eternal Warrior, too early to tell, some kind of Queen's Gambit. Back to Indiana Fats. And a Queen's Indian from Kronos, possibly a Bogo Indian. And Future GM, another Slav. Chess 24, we may get some kind of perk thing going here. I played E4, he went D6, I'll go D4. Trivial Pursuit, same thing, could be a Grunfeld or a King's Indian. And back to the start. And Zebal, I'm afraid Zebal has challenged me, but I think he's too late this month for this July, for the December 2016 Simul. So queen c2 is my pet line against the Slav. So looks like I might get a number of those. We'll see what happens. Having Iola, I'm gonna try just knight c3, and I'm Jesus Reigns. I'm gonna try queen c2. I have to get off this queen c2. It's not a bad, but but there is better. Okay, Cyber Demon, queen a4 check, Indiana Fats, Sicilian, and Kronos and Pasqualino is doing the triangle variation. And I'm going to go knight f3 and see if he wants to accept that. Okay, Sanguinograms and Jay Russell will get another Slav. So a lot of Slavs today. And the Slav is one of the better, if you know what you're doing in the Slav, and like these Moran variations, the semi-Slav, all these things, I think that you'll do okay with it. I think the Slav is a pretty good opening. Also, Heian, maybe possibly the same thing. And Havaniola has gone a6. And I remember because of Kamsky and some strong players like back row playing this, Chebanenko, I think it's called. I remember I had to do chapters in the in the book MCO book that Nick DeFermian has written, and I remember thinking that every legal move was giving white an edge. I think I'll try c5 against Havaniola in this game. Okay, Eternal Warrior, I took on d4 back Stama, another Queen's Gambit, and Sanguinograms. I'm going to play my pet line against the Grunfeld. Duke Bishop has gone g6 in this in the Queen c2 Slav. I reply e3. Pasqualino, we got a chance for maybe a Botvinnik variation or maybe a Cambridge Springs. Kronos, I was about to move, and Nejmadinov has come in late, and I'm going to try e4 against him. And back to Kronos, we got a possible Benoni there, DVS. Let's get a Queen's Indian going. And Chess 24 is going for one of these Nimzovich type positions with the C6, and could also turn into a perk. Dan is a King's Indian. I played a Samish, also a pet line. Heian is going for the Stonewall Dutch, which is really I mean, of all the Dutches, I think it's probably the best one. To tell you the truth, I think it's the best one. At least you get a blockade position. Okay, ears were in like a modern defense. Sanguinograms, I just played Queen B3 in the Grunfeld, and exchange variation with Bishop G5. It's always was I played a game against it again at the U.S. Open in Indianapolis this past summer, where I was black, and I started playing the Tartakover variation quite often now as black, and in the Queen's Gambit, and I played against the exchange variation, and I don't know, I didn't do so well with it, to tell you the truth, and I think it's a very hard position for black, and I have my students doing something like bishop to e7, which avoids it, and then maybe white goes knight f3, and then black could do the normal sort of thing in those positions. So Stama, we're in a Queen's Gambit accepted. Duke Bishop has gone bishop f5. Heian, that was the blockaded position in the Dutch. And Pasqualino, we're playing this like very solid Queen's Gambit. Pawn takes c3 from Sanguinograms. I think that's the correct move. I think it's better than knight b6. I don't think knight b6 is very good. Okay, bishop f4 against Havaniola. Another same-ish bishop e3 against Trivial Pursuit. Queen takes against Duke Bishop. And Jesus Reigns, another Grunfeld. Going to castle against Heian. Now, Kronos has gotten himself into a kind of a check Benoni position where he moved his e-pawn 2 times. It's not a big deal since it's a blocked position to lose a tempo. Losing a tempo in a opening like the Nightorf. That would be a big deal. So, okay, Dan, we're getting into the normal kind of Benoni positions that can come out of C5 pawn sack declined. Spin dock, we're into this. I got the spin dock and chess 24 playing the same opening. Cyber Demon, last month, I got a very poor position against somebody in this type of position against Cyber Demon. So I don't know. I think I'm just going to go E3 there. I think Cyber Demon is already achieving a pretty good position. DVS, what's up at Bishop A6? I'm not sure that that's the right position for you to play it, and now I can go E4, get some control of the center. Usually Bishop A6 would be played a move earlier, so I'm not sure what's going on there. I think I'm happy about that. Kronos has gone A6 in this type check Benoni center block position. And even though B5 is really not a threat, I sort of automatically go A4. I don't know why. I've never accepted the Benko Gambit. And maybe that's why it scares me a little bit. So I always stomp it. And I hated accepting the Benko Gambit. I've been doing B6 and other decline variations for a very long time. Okay, Havaniola's gone knight H5, and I'll go bishop to D2. Let's see, chess 24. I usually go queen E2 in this type of position. And the thing is that what Black's trying to achieve there is some kind of Dutch. And Black is just trying to get a good variation there. Okay, now DVS, let me see what's happening here. I think I should take on D5 with the C pawn. Castles get broken, but then I think E5 is good. So I got two Samishes going at the same time. Pasqualino, we're in some big theory there. Hayen's gone knight E4, and I'll exchange the bishops. I played bishop F4. He could have doubled my pawns. Future GM early in the opening. And Duke Bishop, I might be able to get a slight edge against him, but it's not going to be much. Nezhmadinov, I don't know what we're going to get. He went E5. Rui Lopez maybe, don't know. King takes F1 from DVS. Knight C6 from Stama. I go knight C3. So openings look pretty decent so far. Okay, now Cronus. I think I'm going to go E5 and shut down the queen side there. Pasqualino's gone G6. I think we had the same game last month. Jay Russell, probably a Cambridge Springs. There was a U.S. championship in Cambridge Springs in 1988, and that's where they had the famous tournament. It really was a kind of a nice little town to go to. One thing though, is that there were no spectators really to speak of, and it's always nice to have the spectators, but the tournament stopped. U.S. Championship stopped being in New York a long time ago, and the U.S. Championships that were in Seattle and San Diego were very nice. Okay, Nezhmadinov is doing a Latvian gambit, and I'll go knight takes E5. Future GM, we got a few of these queen C2s with G6 going. Kronos has gone rook E8, and now I guess that's with the knight G6, knight F8 idea, I think. Pasqualino, bishop G7, I'll go rook C1. And DVS, I reply E5 there. And Duke Bishop, I think I'm going to try to hit him with E4 in the center, get a little space. Now, against Jesus Reigns, I think I should go bishop to D3. And Cyber Demon, I guess knight C3 looks okay. I'm hoping. I remember I had one of these last month and really misplayed it, and I'm not sure what the result of that game was, but it wasn't pretty. Okay, Jay Russell has gone queen A5, and I'm going to try the Kasparov stuff with takes on D5. That's what Kasparov was doing against this thing. Okay, now against Cronus, I'm going to go knight A4 and try and do some business on the queen side. I played a strange move, bishop E2 against Trivial Pursuit. And me and Larry Christensen, when we were living in Germany and playing Bundesliga, we experimented with that thing a lot. Okay, spin dock, we're in one of these Nimzovich type positions. Let's see, Stama. Now let's see. Against Stama, I guess I'm gonna go. I have to be a little careful in this type of position. I guess Queen takes C4. I think I might have had a game where I went knight E5 against somebody, so I got to be a little careful with the theory here. Queen C4. I think maybe E4 turns into some kind of pawn sack or something. So got to be a little careful of some of these openings. Okay. Heian went Queen E7, normal in this blockade, Stonewall. You also can call it Stonewall Dutch. Knight E2, typical maneuver. Bishop D3, Eternal Warrior. This is the game with the exchange variation and the Queen's Gambit. Knight B6 from Cronus, from me, and I'll just drop in. Knight D7 from Sanguinograms, and I usually go Bishop A3 in those positions. And now against Dan, Dan's gone Knight BD7, and I'm going to take that opportunity to go Knight to H3. Usually black tries not to do that because maybe white's knight it doesn't have any good place to go. So I'm happy to go knight H3. Cyber Demon has gone C6, and I'm just going to go Bishop E2. Trivial Pursuit A6, I stomp it with A4. And Castles from Pasqualino, and I'm going to play Bishop to A2, gets out of the way of tempo moves. And now against Jesus Reigns, I'm going to see if I could play E4 there and take some center. Okay, knight takes D5 from J. Russell's correct. I go Queen D2. That's the Kasparov pawn sack thing. And now is Kronos trying to go knight F4 on me? If he is, I think I should go rook E1. So I can meet knight E4 with at least Bishop F1. Okay, I'm going to castle against Cyber Demon, and looks like my position there is okay. Now, against Stam, I've done a pawn sack. I have to go queen back to D1. I'm not sure about that. Nezhmadinov, queen F6, D4 is book. And let's see, Bishop F8 from Kronos. Okay, now, I know I'm in no hurry to take his bishop on C8. He can, maybe I wait until he goes knight D7 and take his bishop. I think I'm going to go bishop to F1. Just in case knight F4 happens, I don't have to worry about it. And queen takes E4 from Duke Bishop. Maybe a slight edge for me. Maybe it's equal. Chess 24 on queen E2, he went bishop takes F3, and I went queen takes F3. I'm pretty happy about that. Sanguinograms went knight to B6. Usually knight B6 is in this kind of Grunfeld position isn't good. I'm going to see if his idea is bishop E6. I think I can go C4. So I think I just play bishop E2 and then maybe castle after that. That looks okay for me. All right, Spindock has gone bishop to E7. And I had a game like this against Varuzhin Akopian a couple years ago at the Castle Challenge, Chess Challenge in Atlanta. And I think I went G4. And then we'll see how that goes. Okay, queen E7 from Kronos, and I'm going to try to open him up. I'm going to play pawn to B4 and get some business going on the queen side. All right, Heian has gone knight G5, and I think that I'm going to trade the knights on G5. Avaniola has gone knight back on H back to F6, normal kind of move there. And now I have to see what sort of things should I do here. There was already a bishop to F4 and a knight H5. And I'm going to go bishop F4 again just to see what he does. And if he goes knight H5, of course, I'm not going to take the draw. That would not be nice to do that in a simul. So let's see what to do against Cyber Demon. I think Cyber Demon is setting up for E5. And I think that I should probably just go rook to D1 and just keep on developing. Eternal Warrior H6, and I go bishop H4. Too early for bishop takes F6. D6 from Nezhmadinov. Bishop E6 from Sanguinograms. And now I'm looking, I think I should go just C4. Pasqualino's gone B6. He's going to develop. And now I got to see where do my pieces belong in this kind of stuff. Do I want to go rook E1? Do I want to go e4 sometimes? I think both look okay. Maybe I should go e4, although I'm ready to hit him with d5, whichever one he goes. So is rook e1 some sort of useful move? Not sure really. So I think I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go e4 and take some center. Okay, spin dock, bishop g6. And now I'm looking at to see, do I have to go bishop takes f6 here? And then do a castle's queen side. Trivial Pursuit, knight bd7, similar to the other game. I'm happy to go knight h3 and get my knight to f2. And all right, and having Iola, I'm going to go bishop d2 one more time, and then I'm going to play another move. Okay, so let's see what to do. Spin dock, I'm going to cancel queen side. C6 from Sanguinograms, and I'm very grateful to get my king out of the center. Okay, Nejmadinov, f takes e4. I go knight to c3, and g6 from Havaniola. So he didn't want to go knight f6 again. I think he should have, because I wasn't going to go bishop f4. Now I have to see, is e4 a good move for me here? To crack it open and see if I could do some business. Okay, Cyber Demon has gone e5, and I'm going to get out of the way and play queen to b3 and get out of the way of some hits. Okay, Jesus Reigns has gone rook to c8, and I feel like e5 is the right move for me there. Okay, knight g8 from DVS, and now, well, that makes me happy, because how's he developing? If the knight comes out to h6, I'll take it. And I was thinking that knight e4 was the right move, but I don't know. Maybe he was worried about me capturing on e4 and then possibly having a weak pawn on e4. So that's interesting. So I'm thinking of just getting my king to a good spot here. I'm going to go g3 and just castle by hand with king to g2 and see what happens there. Okay, Jay Russell has castled. Now, Kasparov was famous for making this into a pawn sack with a3. And then knight, pawn, bishop takes c3, pawn takes c3 kind of stuff. So I guess I'm gonna try the Kasparov stuff with a3. Pawn takes b4, bishop takes b4 from Kronos. I'm gonna try and crack him open on the queen side. Okay, and now Sanguinograms has gone rook to e8. Interesting move, and now I'm wondering if I could bother him here. What I wanted to bother him here with is knight to g5. Let me try that and see how he reacts to that. Okay, knight f4 from Kronos, and I can maybe get rid of his knight in a little while. I'll see. Maybe I go bishop to d2. I would like to crack him with c5 possibly. So let me do a rook to c1 and see how that goes. A6 from Dan, and now I have to see. Larry Christensen sometimes didn't play a4. Sometimes Larry Christensen in those Benoni positions let black go b5. I have a game where I beat him in the U.S. Championship, but I think he had a good position. So that's an interesting thing there. What could happen? Okay, so we're just rolling through the openings. We got started a little late, but everything is going great guns, and it looks like very good games happening. Looks like the next big tournament is the London Chess Challenge. I like to play in England again. I should really maybe try. I would like to go to Hastings one more time. I actually, the English players, my friends, people like Mark Hebden, Glenn Fleer, they thought I was crazy, but I liked Hastings. Maybe it's because I'm from New York and I enjoy going to like a small town somewhere and playing some chess. All right, sometimes the boards don't pop up properly and I go searching. So Sanguinogram's board is up and he's thinking, so I'm going to switch to another board. Chess 24 has gone e5, and I think that I'm going to now. I would probably like to try to cancel queenside in this type of position. So I don't know. I'm thinking of going bishop to e3. I could do pawn takes pawn and maybe play some light square thing, but no, I don't want to give him open up his bishop. So it feels like bishop to e3 probably the right move for me there. Okay, so the Dan game I was speaking about, that what Larry Christensen used to do, he used to just let b5 happen. So I'm going to try that. I'm not going to go a4. I'm just going to go bishop e2 and let him go b5 and see how that works. Okay, Cyber Demon has gone e takes d4, and I'm going to take back with the pawn. I think his position is okay here already, not bad. Okay, Stama has gone bishop g4, and I'm going to try d5 there. h5 from Trivial Pursuit. I'll get my knight to f2. Nezhvedinov, queen to g6, and I'm going to go f3. I remember that's the book stuff. Knight takes e4 against Havaniola. Now I'm thinking what to do against Heian here. I think I'm going to go knight to f4, threatening knight takes e6, see how he reacts to that. Kronos is sticking knights all over my face, but I don't think it's bothering me. He's got one knight on f4 supported by another knight. I'm thinking of, my original idea here was to crack him with c5, and I think that should be the right thing to do. I'm looking at knight takes c8 and g3 to make that knight go back. c5 seems like the right thing for me to do here. Some queenside action. Okay, let's see if I can play like Kasparov, or at least do a poor imitation of him. Kasparov doesn't live. I live on 73rd Street now in New York, on the west side, and Kasparov lives not far from here. I think a couple blocks away, and I see him on the street sometimes, and he knows me. We played once, okay, now Kronos. I'm thinking of now not taking on d6, but maybe going c6 and making a pass pawn. I'm just keeping an eye on my king side, make sure nothing weird happens. So yeah, I'm going to try c6 against Kronos and see what happens there. Queen d7 from DVS, and I'm just going to go king g2. Knight f4. Heian has retreated back with the queen to e7. And now I'm wondering what to do here. I'm thinking about going c5, but then he might hit me with e5, so it's probably better I keep the tension. So I'm going to do rook on f to c1, and kind of developing and waiting at the same time. Trivial Pursuit, I just castled. Havaniola has gone knight df6, and I think I will exchange, and he'll probably take back. I'm sure he'll take back with a knight. Okay, so queen takes a3 from Jay Russell, and we're in the Kasparov pawn sack. Like I said, that's in the Cambridge Springs. He had a lot of games with Smyslov and this type of stuff. Okay, I'm going to go bishop to d3 and just develop. I remember that Kasparov used to do that. Jesus Reigns, I think I'm happy to exchange on d5 and get my queen out of the way. That way his bishop's dead. Okay, Kronos has made a threat. Knight takes h3 or bishop takes h3, and I don't know if I just go king to g2. h2, sorry. Is everything under control for me? Get my queen out of the way with Jesus Reigns. Ears is doing Ears is playing like the Duncan Suttles Lawrence Day again. And Lawrence, in case you don't know, Lawrence Day is a strong Canadian. I am a pretty good friend of mine, and Duncan Suttles, who I met a few times. They used to play these openings called the Rat, the Hippopotamus, all kinds of weird animal names, and so some strange stuff. So now I have to see what he's setting up for here. I think I'm going to go bishop to d3 instead of bishop e2. All right, Havaniola. I think that. Okay, let me see what he's up to here. I feel like bishop g4 might be some sort of idea for him. So I'm looking at stuff here like queen to b3, or let's see. I mean, queen to b3 doesn't look bad. I'm thinking about h3 to stop his bishop f5, bishop g4, and guard my center. I think I'm going to try h3 there. Ears, I'm castling, and h5 from DVS. Okay, so when he goes knight h6, what's going to happen then is he can take back with the rook. I'm looking for sharp stuff. I don't know. I mean, I'm looking to see if I could ever go E6 or something. All right, I'm going to go rook E1 against DVS. Looks like a good developing move. Ears has gone castles. I'll go rook E1, just taking my time. Heian has gone knight B6. Okay, now I don't want to go. I don't think I want to go C5 so fast here. So I'm just going to go B3 and keep the tension. Stamma's the only game I'm not sure what I'm doing here. I'm going to go bishop F4 and then see what happens there. E5 for Pasqualino. I'm going to go D5. And now after A6 from Jesus Reigns, what I have to look at is I'm wondering if E6 is any good for me. E6, where does he go? I mean, maybe I get queen takes E6, knight G5 stuff, not sure. Maybe pawn takes, I have knight G5. I think I'm going to try E6. I think there's other things I could do there. The problem with his position is now his bishop got blocked. Okay, now, Heian went knight B6 in that stone wall. I went B3 and he went back knight D7. I don't know. Does that make sense? I'm not sure. So now I'm going to see what to do here. I'm thinking of going A4. And I'm keeping the tension on him. Okay, C6 from DVS. And let's see, what sort of things can I look at here? I think I'm just going to go bishop to F4. And maybe get a rook to C1 and put some pressure on him there. Okay, Jay Russell has gone E5 in this Cambridge Springs Kasparov pawn sack variation. And I think that I'm going to play, can I go E4? And ask him where he goes with his knight. Pawn now, Cronus, not like the clock, I guess. What do I take back with here on? Do I take back with the pawn or the rook? I think I'm going to be greedy and see if this pass pawn can drive nuts. Take back with the pawn. Okay, A3 from future GM and then threatening knight to B4. I'm going to go A3. And now what's happening here? Cyber Demons played H6, which stops me from doing stuff. And now I don't know. I feel stupid of playing rook to because I'm going to put my rook back to E1 now. So I felt I wasn't really sure what I was doing there. Okay, Spindoc's gone D5. And I'm going to go H4 against him. Queen A5 from future GMM. And now, okay, so knight B4 is threatened. And I'm just going to get out of the way with rook to B1. Okay, knight G6 from Sama. And I'm going to go bishop back to... Should I go bishop E3 or bishop G3? I think I'm going to go back bishop G3. And now B5 from Dan, rook E8 from Dan. And then the big question for me is when I'm going to do F4. I think I'm going to try bishop H6 against Dan. See what he does. Trivial Pursuit played king H7, stopping bishop H6. I'm going to go king H1, hoping to play F4 for later. Jay Russell has retreated knight back to E7. And I'm just going to castle. And the Kasparov development business looks decent. G5 against Spindock. I wonder if Spindock's still having a beer. And now a Cyber Demon. I'm thinking about going bishop to C4 just to have him move his queen and then maybe move my bishop back to F1. So bishop C4, queen C7. I'm going to give that a try here. Bishop C4, and then his queen moves, and then I'm going to go back. Future GM has gone bishop takes, pawn takes C4. I guess I go bishop takes C4. All right, DVS has blocked me with queen E7. And now I got to see what's my next thing to do here. I'm going to try knight to E2 and see if I could continue to bother him. I guess I should pay attention to H4 a little bit. If he goes H4, does that really annoy me? I'm not sure. I think I'm going to just go knight E2, and if he wants to try to mate me, we'll see what happens there. Okay, Spindock went bishop E7. I'm going to go knight E5, and I think knight E5 carries a pretty big threat with it. Okay, knight F6 from Heian. And now I'm looking for ways to open up the queen side for him. So I think I'm going to try, let's see here. I'm going to go pawn to B4, trying to play for B4, B5 ideas. Okay, Jesus Reigns has gone knight F6. If I take on F7 and follow that up with knight G5, does that look good? I think so. All right, DVS has decided he wants to mate me. He did go H4. And now I'm going to try bishop to E3. Try and get some knight F4 stuff going here. Try and dislodge his queen. Okay, knight H5 from Eternal Warrior, good move. And I must take on E7, I'm pretty sure. Chess 24 has gone B5, and I'm just thinking of castling queenside and letting him just try to mate me with his queen and pawn on B4. Okay, queen takes E7. Eternal Warrior has established a pretty solid position. I'm just going to castle. Maybe white could be a little better there. All right, now, what's happening here with Cyber Demon? I was intending to go bishop to F1. I think I will. And having Eola's develop with bishop to G7, and now I'm looking at bishop to C4. Where should I put my bishop? Maybe just bishop E2. Bishop C4 looks okay. And just coming out there. Okay, now, queen F6 from Cronus. Does he have any threats? Always keep an eye on these positions. I don't know. I mean, I could get greedy here and maybe do a G3 and try to win a piece, but C7 looks pretty nice, doesn't it? That looks like, where will his rook go? So I think I'm just going to go C7. I really like my students think I'm crazy. I tell them I love pass pawns, man. I'm telling you. Okay, G5 from Hayen, and I'll just retreat. I think knight to D3 looks like the right place to go. Duke Bishop is getting ready to try to go E5. I'm going to try to stop it with bishop to F4. Rook takes B6 from Kronos, and now I have two connected pass pawns. Knight G6 from J. Russell. Okay, now what's happening here? I'm tempted really to do something like H4. I don't know. I think I'm going to try H4. I see a knight on G6. I'm always trying to do H4. Dan has retreated with bishop H8, and I'm getting out of the way with king to H1. Same kind of thing in the Trivial Pursuit game. He went bishop he went rook to B8, playing for B5, and now my idea is, at what moment should I play F4? I'm going to try bishop G5 against Trivial Pursuit. Always looking out for tactics. H5 from J. Russell. Now I'm wondering if I could bother that H-pawn somehow. I could chase his queen back. With rook to A1 at any time. Not sure what that does. Bishop C4, I don't know. That might help him develop, I guess, if he go knight B6 maybe. So I got to see what to do. I think I'm just going to go rook to E1. And then the business is to have the center play. Okay, now DVS has gone pawn takes on G3, and I must take back with the H-pawn. Not with the, excuse me, H-pawn would mate me. I meant F-pawn. The other one would not be very good. Okay, G5 from Kronos. So Kronos is going for it here, all or nothing. And let me see what sort of ideas do I have here. If I could get rid of his bishop. G4 sends his knight back. I'm thinking about just maybe playing a little defense here with knight to, how about I just play a little defense here with knight to G1. And if he goes G4, then what? I have to see what to do then. All right, I'm going to play a little defense with knight to G1. Queen H5 from future GM. And I'm going to castle. And queen H3 from DVS, and I'm going to go king to G1, and I'm still hoping to get some kind of knight to, some hit on his queen with knight to F4. Okay, Hayen has gone knight H5, and it's pretty obvious that he just wants to hit me with F4. I'm thinking about bishop to F3. I'm thinking of maybe just letting him do it. If I let him do it and I play, let's say, I don't know, I could stop it with f4. So I'm going to see, I'm going to go queen to d1. Get my queen out of the way, attack his knight. All right, e5 from Stammer. So Stammer's got a good game going here. I somehow I may have, I'm not really proud about how I played this opening. All right, let me see if I can get the bishop pair, and maybe I could do some business here. Okay, Pasqualino has gone bishop to b7. And do I want to take and go knight d5 and get this bishop opposite color type of position? The only thing that could happen there is then when my bishop's on d5, can he bother me with knight f6 stuff? That's the question. I could wait maybe and try to gain time and build up on him a little bit. I don't know. I think I'm going to take on d5 and then see which type of position looks good. Okay, Ears has gone pawn to b6, and I'm going to go ahead and play against Ears. Let's see. I want to develop my bishop. I don't know if it should go to d2. I think I'm going to try d5 against Ears and see what he does about that. Okay, Jesus Reigns has gone king h8, and now I'm allowed to keep my pawn for a second with knight e5. I also can try knight to g5, getting into e6. I think I'm going to try that one. That's the greediest thing. Makes sense. All right, against Pasqualino, I'm going to try for a good knight on d5 instead of the bishop opposite color position. Okay, let's see what's happening here. Kronos went ahead and played played g4, and now I'm thinking of doing a couple of things here. First thing I'm wondering about is if I divert his bishop with pawn to b7. That looks very safe. I think I'm going to go for that. I don't see anything. I don't see any kind of cheapos for him. So I think I'm happy about this situation. All right. Heian has defended with queen e8, and now I'm just going to go pawn to b4 and try to open up the queen side. Eternal Warrior has played f5. The big question is that a good Dutch or not? I don't know. You know, I mean, to me, any Dutch defense is terrible, so I'm going to go queen c2. g5 from DVS, okay. And now he's threatening g4, perhaps. So what do I do here? I think I got to be a little careful. I really should have not ignored this thing so much that he did to me here, because g4 all of a sudden is a very bothersome type of move. I think I'm going to go queen d2 and just maybe snatch that pawn. Queen a5 from Duke Bishop, and I'm going to go rook to e1. I still don't want him playing e5. That would be a freeing move. Okay, now Jesus Reigns. Do I want to go knight e6? Badly enough. I think I want to leave my knight on g5 for a little bit and just develop and go bishop to d2. That looks okay. And then I have to check. Does he have any counter shots here? Let's see if I do bishop to d2. I don't know if he has knight e4 or something like that there. So I don't know. Rook e1 might be a sensible move for me also. I'm going to go rook e1 and bother his e7 pawn. Okay, DVS has gone g4, and I will hit him with knight to f4. Heian has gone f4, and now I wasn't sure if he could do f4. I was thinking about pawn takes pawn, and then bishop to f3. What does he do there? And Spindock has just captured on g5 with check. And I think that was a pawn he took, and I'm very happy to take back and be up a piece. And then it switched back to the other board. So how do I want to do this? Against Heian, I'm going to go e takes f4. Queen takes f3 against Stammer, so I have the bishop pair, but I'm down a pawn. I'm going to try queen b3 against Havaniola and bother to see how he defends that pawn. Okay, now, against Heian, I'm just going to go bishop to f3. What's going on here after that move? What does he do? Bishop to e4 from Havaniola. So he wants to get his bishop to f5, to d5. That looks good. He's also threatening Bishop takes f3. So I think I'm just going to go, let's see, if I go bishop c3, though, if I go bishop to c3, can he just take on f3 and mess up my pawns? Good question. So I could be getting my pawns messed up. Knight e5, I don't know. Knight e5, probably the best move, actually. Threatening f7. Okay, I'm going to try knight e5. Maybe I can get some slight edge out of that. Okay, what's happening here with Kronos? G takes h3. He's opening me up for sure here. I'm going to play... I'm going to go, like, I'm thinking of just taking his bishop. I'm looking out for cheapos here. I think I'm okay. I'm going to take his, I'm going to make a queen on c8. Okay, DVS has moved his queen, and now I have to move my knight, I think. And the only place to put my knight is on h4, and he'll get to take it, but he's got to be a little careful about development there. So I think I'm okay there, even though it feels like I might have had something better. Okay, chess 24, when knight bd7, he's trying to get some reinforcements over there. And I think I'm just going to move my knight to e2 right away before b4. Maybe knight c1 could be a useful defensive move. Knight c5 from ears. I go bishop c2. Bishop e6 from Cyber Demon. Exchange sack on e6. I kind of doubt it. He's getting rook e8 too fast and stuff like that. So, I mean, I could think about it, but it doesn't. I don't know if it feels right. And then he could block with rook f7 maybe. So I don't think the exchange sack works. So I'm just going to go queen to c2. All right, rook takes from Kronos, and now I'm going to go queen g4 check. Nice to have a queen out there defending, and maybe I'll snatch his rook. Queen c7 from Trivial Pursuit, breaking the pin. And now I want to see. I'm looking at things like. I'm wondering when I should play f4. I think I'm going to try f4 right now and see if that's any good. Jay Russell has retreated his queen. I think that's a sensible move, and I'm going to now then retreat my bishop with bishop to b1. Bishop to e6 from Eternal Warrior, and I'm wondering about knight f4 doubling my pawns here. I'm wondering about, maybe I should just go rook e1 and play some sensible move like that. Just keep on developing. Okay, now, Heian, what happens if I go knight takes f4? Exchange sack? But I don't know. My king is just too safe there, so I think I'm very happy here. I think I'm going to just go knight takes f4. Bishop takes h4 from DVS. I'm going to recapture, of course. And now Kronos has gone... king h7, and now if I just trade the queens on f5, how's he going to make me without the queens? So that looks pretty nice for me. Rook f8 from Cyber Demon, and I'm going to go knight to e5. Queen to Nezhmedinov, queen takes f3. That board I hope the boards are working okay, because when the boards don't work okay, that's when the trouble starts. Rook e8 from Jay Russell, and now I'm looking for ways to keep him from developing. I'm wondering about I'm wondering about bishop to e3 or some kind of move like that. Maybe to get I don't know if I'm getting a knight into g4. Rook to d1 looks like it may be a sensible looking move. I don't know if I have real compensation here. I did not play this like I was Kasparov. Okay, what's happening with Havaniola there? Can I go bishop takes f7 or bishop c3? And then I'm going to go bishop takes f7. This is a sharp solution for him. Okay, bishop takes f7, and then I'm going to see. Okay, Heian has sacked the exchange, but I don't know if he's got anything. His king is just not. In the best sort of situation there. Okay, what do I do against DVS? He's threatening some G3 stuff. I think I'm going to go queen G2 and defend a little bit, and then see if I could take advantage of the fact that his king's in the middle. Knight f6 from Nezhmedinov, and do I just want to go bishop to D3? come out fast. King h7 from Havaniola. And now my knight is attacked, so I'm going to go bishop to c3. Okay, knight e4 from Jesus Reigns. I expected something like that. I think it's a good move. And I'll go knight takes e4, and for the moment, I'll be up 2 pawns. Okay, Stama, he's up a pawn here, but I'm going to see if I can annoy him. I'm thinking about h4. I don't know what my problem is. Whenever I see a knight on g6, I just have to go h4. So I'm going to try h4 and see what the deal is. Bishop takes e4 against Jesus Reigns, and Havaniola has gone queen takes c5. And now I'm thinking about, all right, I have to be a little careful. My knight is a little on e5, is a little dubious there. So I'm thinking about, okay, and then the board switched to spin dock, and I'm just going to move my king b1 against spin dock. Queen takes e4 against Jesus Reigns, and back to Havaniola. All right. I'm wondering about if I can go if I go bishop e6 and threaten some stuff like knight f7 in some position. He might be going bishop to d5 on the next move, or knight to d5. I'm not sure which is which. So he'll probably get to do one or the other. I'm looking a little bit at queen takes b7. I got to be a bit careful here because my pieces are in weird places. I'm thinking about just going rook on A to E1. I'm worried about my F2 pawn. That's why I'm doing rook A E1 instead of rook F. Okay, Jay Russell has gone knight F6. And now let me see here. I'm thinking about queen trade. I'm gonna try pawn takes pawn. There's some interesting business going on here. Okay, and Jesus Reign has recaptured on F7, so I'm up a pawn. And his king's a little open, but I don't think that should matter. And I'm just going to go bishop to e3 and calm down and just protect my stuff and hopefully up a pawn. Okay, let's see. What do I do here against Trivial Pursuit? I'm going to go knight takes g4 and trade, and bishop d7 developing from Heian. And I'm going to try to crack him open with b5. Knight g4 from Cyber Demon. And I'm going to see there, I don't know, my intention was to do something like bishop to f4. And let's see how that one goes. Not really sure what's going on there. Okay, knight e7 from Devios. And yeah, I mean it's a normal move for him, and I think I'm looking to see how can I defend myself a little bit here, and I don't really want to trade the queens, so I'm thinking about rook to f1 to add a little defense. Okay, Heian, I'm going to try to crack him open here. I'm going to take on c6, and then maybe take on d5 and see how does it go there. Okay, I'm going to try against Eternal Warrior, I'm going to try getting my minority attack going with b4. Okay, e5 from Ears, and I have to take pawn to b4. I got to do it. It must be right. Traded queens against Jay Russell. Maybe I'm getting my pawn back. Not sure. Okay, bishop e7 for chess 24, getting ready to castle. I think I'm going to go knight to c1, play a little defense, and then see if I can get my own stuff going. All right, now Heian's going to get some stuff going. I'm going to take on d5 and then try to make my king safe. Okay, Ears has gone knight to b7. Oh, that's an ugly place for a knight. Okay, a3. I'm just going to try to bury it there. Okay, now what do I do now against Trivial Pursuit? The thing with f5 is that it's always a strong knight on e5. But I'm wondering if I could play around it in some case. All right, I'm going to try f5. It's a little controversial. It stops knight e3. Okay, now what Cyber Demon has just played f6, which might be a good move. And now what's happening here with spin dock? The boards keep changing. Knight takes d7 or I'm going to go knight takes g6 against spin dock. I like my position there. I'm not so sure if I'm happy with my position with Cyber Demon, because it's possible he's doing some stuff here, and I got to see how do I get my way out of this. Knight takes G4. I might have to do it. Okay, pawn to E5 from Jesus Reigns. Okay, now can I just go? Can I just play? I'm looking to see if I could just go rook on A to D1 and just protect all my stuff. And then maybe go D5 at the right moment. Okay, J. Russell, I'm going to take on E5. F6 from Stammer. So I don't know. I thought I might have been happy to see that, because maybe I can get some light square bishop opposite color business going here. Let me go H5. I'll try it. I don't I think Stammer's got a good position. Rook to D1 from Rook D8 from against J. Russell, trying to keep him from developing. C4 from Dan, and now I got to see. I'm always on the lookout here for when is F4 the right thing to do. I'm gonna try bishop to G5 against Dan, pin his knight, and see if I could cause some trouble there. All right, Cyber Demon has gone bishop takes F4, and now he's threatening my knight. So what do I do here? I think he's going to win my H7 pawn, and then I'm going to try to be okay. All right, I'm going to try queen to G6. No, let's see. Deviance has gone knight A6, and I don't know. Is he considering castling on the queen side? Is a good question. And so should I go rook to? Should I go rook to C1? All right, I think I must. I think I'm going to try rook to C1. Rook to C1 could be a useful move. Okay, king H7 from J. Russell, and I'm thinking I like F4 here, trying to open up my bishop. Okay, queen G4 from Nejmadinov, and I'm always on the lookout here. I don't know. I mean, I'm wondering about queen E3 check. Queen E3 check, and he could go queen E6 if he wants to trade queens. I could castle. I think I'm going to try queen E3 check. Bishop takes D5 from Hayen. I'm going to trade on D5. My king will be a little more open without that bishop, but it's less pieces traded. Okay, Dan has gone queen B6. I'm going to go bishop E3 and bother his queen again. Okay, bishop G4 from Ears. And let me see. I'm thinking I should just go H3 before that pin gets to be too annoying. And now Spindock. What's happening here? I'm thinking about snatching a pawn on D5. Pawn takes pawn looks good. E takes D5 from Hayen, and I'm going to see queen G4 feels like a nice defensive type of move. Put the queen out there, let it do some kind of defense. I got chess 24 to retreat to D7, to C7. He was afraid of knight B3, and now I'm wondering about getting my pawn storm going with G4. Get my own people going. All right, hold on, J. Russell. I have a lot of moves here. First, I have E5 discovered check, and bishop takes knight isn't bad either. Winning a piece. I think E5 discovered check looks good. And I think I'm winning a piece there. Okay, king H8 from Hayen. And I'm going to go rook to C8. And rook to C8 looks very good. I think I'm happy about this situation here. All right, now Stammer has gone knight to F8. And I'm going to try bishop to H4. I'm really sort of groping around there for compensation. E5 from Jesus Reigns. And he might be creating some back rank stuff. So am I forced to go D5 here? I obviously can't go pawn takes pawn, queen takes D1, I get back rank. So I think I'm forced to go D5. Okay, now, J. Russell, do I just win a piece with bishop takes F6? Queen takes C8 against Hayen, and F5 from Ears. Okay, now Ears, what do I do? I'm thinking of just going bishop to D2, or maybe getting out of the way with queen to E2. That knight on b7, I just keep looking at it. I mean, that could be a problem later on. Okay, now chess 24 has gone h6, and I'm going to go rook to g1 and see if I can get my pawn storm going at a later date. I don't know if he's going to be able to castle. I'm going to go bishop d4 against Dan. And now against Heian, I'm looking, and I feel like rook e1 just wins for me. Is that right? He gets queen g6, but then there's no queen e4, right? So I think rook e1 looks nice for me. Okay, DVS did castle on the queen side. Now, my king is a little open. I think I'm going to try b4 and see if I could crack them open. We're hitting each other in these games, and both of them at the same time. Knight b6 from chess 24. Is knight c4 bothering me? Is a good question. Thinking about, all right, well, I'm always looking out to see. I don't know if my knight should come. My knight would be nice if it could get to g3. I'm thinking about just going b3 to stop his knight, to stop him from going knight c4. Queen g6 from Heian, I go king to h1. Ears has captured on e4, and I'm going to take back with my knight, and that's a good knight on e4. Duke bishop has attacked my queen. I think it goes back to c2. Okay, Slama has gone knight fd7. And I'm going to try g3. Messy position. Bishop d5 from Havaniola. That's what I expected. And I have to trade. Well, I don't have to trade. I can go queen takes b7, but I don't think that makes sense. So I have to trade on d5. And DVS has gone knight c7, which looks like a good move. And now I'm trying to figure out how to crack him here. All right, I'm going to play knight to e2, which is more of a defensive move than anything. Knight c7 from future GM, and I'm going to go bishop to e2 and harass his queen a little bit. And now king g7 from Heian, and what's the easiest way to win here? Rook g1 winning his queen. So that one looks nice for me. Always good to put the first point up on the board. Okay, what's happening here? Jesus reigns. He went rook c4, which I expected. I think I'm going to go queen all the way back to b1. Future GM, I'm going to go h3. See if I can pick up the bishop pair. Okay, now what's happening against Havaniola here? I'm going to go knight back to f3. And see if I can bother his e-pawn. Okay, let's see. We got an interesting game going here against Stama. I'm trying to keep his king in the middle for as long as I possibly can. I'm going to try castle's queenside here. This game is a little out of control and not necessarily in my favor. Queen h4 from future GM, and I'm going to start another minority attack with b4. Rook h7 from DVS. Defending. And now I'm looking to see what sort of trouble can I cause here. Is he threatening to triple, or is tripling just, if he triples, can I protect it easy? That's what I'm wondering. All right, I'm going to just continue here. I'm going to go a4 and go on with my own stuff. So we'll see. All right, now, ears, is knight d4 bothering me? I can go bishop to b2, and if it goes knight d4, I could take it, or maybe I could play around it also. Bishop to e3, possibly the same kind of thing. Just let the knight go into d4 and play around it. And my knight on e4 is doing a nice job defending stuff. Okay, I'm gonna try bishop to b2. A6 from chess 24. So what is he up to here? Is he trying to get something with c5 in? Can I get my pawn storm going with? I'm going to try to get my pawn storm going with h4. 96 from Future GM, and I'm going to play. I have to make. Is he up to some kind of sack here? All right, I'm going to try knight to e4, just in case he's up to some knight g5 thing. All right, now, Dan 24. When do I want to play f4? Now? I think I'm going to try to play f4 now. That's the big question all the time. Now, Stammer, he went knight d3, and I'm very happy to take my pawn back. I don't know. I was thinking of maybe sacking the exchange, but I think I should just not be greedy about it. I should be happy to get my pawn back. Okay, bishop e7 from Nijmedinov. And I'm looking at all kinds of weird moves here, knight b5s and whatnot. He gets knight a6. I think, okay, if I hit his queen with h3, where does he go? I think I should just castle. Okay, against Future GM, I'm happy to trade the queens with my bishop pair. What to take back here against Stammer? Take back with the queen. Okay, I'm going to take back with a queen. And doubling of rooks from Jesus Reigns. And then I got to see what's up here. I'm thinking about pawn to b3. Trades queens against Future GM. Okay, now Stammer has gone queen d7. He's getting ready to castle queenside. And I'm wondering, well, what's my bishop on h4? Can I ever do some? See, h6 loses a piece. He just goes g5. So I'm thinking maybe I should just go f3 and start to get my bishop back into the game. Okay, knight e4 from Havaniola. And I'm going to take on g7. Triples from DVS, and I thought I just had simple bishop to f4, guarding my stuff. Okay, now, can I go queen takes b7 against Havaniola and not lose my queen? That's the question. I could do rook c1 first, maybe, and then he can go, but then he goes queen d6. I might be chasing his queen to a better place. So queen takes b7, and then when he goes rook b8, he takes b2, and then he's bothering me on. So I'm checking to see what to do here. Rook takes e4 just popped into my mind, and I don't know. It's got points to it, except that I won't be able to go knight g5. That's the problem. So what's the right way? He's up a pawn for the moment. I thought his king was a little loose. I was going to go queen takes b7, but like I said, I'm afraid of him taking on b2. So let's see what to do here. Rook to d1. Maybe he goes e6. All right, I'm going to try rook to d1. Okay, and now Future GM has gone knight c7, so that stops me from going b5 for the moment. I'm just going to go bishop to d2, and I'm going to see if my bishop pair can cause some damage later. f6 from Trivial Pursuit. Wow. Okay, now I'm thinking of some things here. The first one I'm looking at is I get his king walking a little bit with takes on g6. Stammer has gone castles queenside. I'm going to go g4. I think I came out of that one in a decent shape. e5 from Future GM. I'm going to take on e5. c5 from Chess24. And I'm going to take on e5 or c5. It's the same thing. Rook c2 from Jesus Reigns. And I'm going to try pawn to b4 and see if I could get a bishop to c5. Okay, Chess24. It's got. I have to go on with my pawn storm. And now what's happening with Dan here? Let's see. I'm gonna take on g4 and h6 from Stammer, and I'm going to go bishop to f2. I think I came out of this okay against Stammer. Maybe Stammer had better than what happened here. Okay, Chess24 pawn storm. Simal's been going for about an hour. Okay, going to trade bishops against Dan. on h8. It's always nice to get rid of those bishops. Okay, now, Havaniola has given me that pawn with check. It's got to be okay to take a pawn with check, right? So I took a pawn with check, and we'll see what happens. Okay, Eternal Warrior has gone b5. And now I'm always on the lookout to see if his f4 does anything. I think I have f4 held up pretty nicely, I think. So I want to see what to do here. I think knight g3 maybe is the right thing to do. Okay, so king takes h8 from Dan, and I think I'm going to go bishop takes g. Well, I don't know. First things first here. Do I have to worry about b4 and my pawn? That's one thing that's bothering me a little bit. I think that I'm just going to go a3 and stop stuff. Okay, now DVS, what's happening? I get bishop g3, so I'm defending myself. And I think, all right, I'm gonna do bishop g3 and my h pawn. I feel better about that. King h6 from Havaniola. And now I don't know. I'm thinking about stuff here. I'm looking at. Well, I'm checking out knight e5, for instance, with some threats. I don't know. We got to see. I think I'm going to try knight e5 and see if that does anything. Pawn takes knight, h takes g3 against Eternal Warrior. Chess 24 is retreated with knight fd7, and I'm thinking about going g6. Try to open him up, see where his king goes. Stama has gone c5, and I guess I'm just going to go king to b1. Queen to h5 from DVS, and I mean, knight f5 for me, it feels like the right thing to do. So I'm going to go knight f4, and now I got Trivial Pursuit's king walking, so I'm going to go bishop to f4. And rook back to c4 from Jesus Reigns, and bishop c5 was my idea. And maybe get my pass pawn going. Knight takes f2 from Havaniola. And let's see what's happening here. Okay, so I was going to go knight f7. But then he takes rook takes. So now he's threatening a lot of stuff here, and I didn't really think this through too carefully, did I? He's threatening knight takes h, and he's threatening my rook. I don't know. I'm wondering about all kinds of stuff here. Now, if I go knight f7, he takes. I take with the queen. Knight takes d1. Discovered check. If I go knight to d7. He has knight. I don't know. Does he have knight takes h3? And who knows what? I don't know what's going on here. Rook takes. He could take. He obviously takes it with the queen, and then I can put my king somewhere. And then I don't know. Is knight g4 some kind of strong idea for me? So rook takes, queen takes, king h1. I'm thinking about it. I guess I'm gonna try it. What the heck? I don't know. I get his king walking, but not convinced it's any good for me. All right, let's see. Trivial Pursuit has played rook h8. That's a good move. It's defending his h pawn. And now I got to see, how do I do stuff to him here? Thinking about bishop to d3 just to see what sort of thing he does. And if he goes e5, do I have any kind of continuation? I'm gonna try bishop to d3. Okay, queen takes f2, king to g1, h1. Now let's see what's happening here. King h8 against Stama, and I'm looking at things like queen to b5, rook to c1 maybe. And I think I'm going to try rook to c1. I think it's sort of turned out okay for me. All right, what's happening with DVS now? I really like to hit him with b5 here or something. I'm going to try b5. Knight e5 from Trivial Pursuit. And I think I'm just gonna go bishop c2 and take it easy here. I think his king's a little open. We're gonna see if we can take advantage later. Okay, queen a7 from Dan, and it's covering important squares, but I'm gonna try bishop takes g4. Maybe I could try to trap his bishop, but I didn't protect my pawn against Eternal Warrior on b4, so I didn't mean to do that. So I'm going to try knight to e2 and pretend like nothing happened, right? And now let's see, d6 against Jesus Reigns looks decent. Bishop g4 from Dan, and now I'm thinking about f5. Try and trap that bishop. Queen f5 trade from Duke Bishop. I think I'll take the trade. Double his pawns, see what happens. Queen h5 from Nejmadinov. Okay, what's he trying to do to me now? Is knight h5 bothering me a lot? I'm looking at rook e1. Rook e1, maybe he castles, and then I take e7, and he goes rook to e8. So I think I'm going to just go. I'm looking to see, can I just go bishop to d2? Can I allow him to go knight to g4? If I can't, then I'm just going to go h3. I think I'm just going to go h3 because knight g4 looked a little bothersome. All right, future GM's bringing his king closer. It seems like a good idea. I'm going to bring my king closer. And queen to g3 from Havaniola. And now let me see if I can get his king walking here a little bit. So I'll go knight g4 check. c4 from Stama. And I go queen e2, I guess. And now let me see what to do to Duke Bishop. I'm going to try bishop e5 looks okay. Face those bishops. Queen f7 from Jesus Reigns. Okay, now I don't think rook takes c5 is a threat. What happens if I go pawn to d7 here? Threatening the queen. Looks nice to me. I think does he have to go queen back to d8? Now, do I want to do that, though? Because if I make him do that, I mean, my pawn is getting a little weaker. So let me see. I'm thinking about maybe something like queen to d3. And I'm looking at these. I'm looking at rook takes c5, and I'm not so worried about it. So I think I'm going to try queen to d3. Another thing I'm thinking about is d7. Queen d8, then queen to d3. How's that? I'm going to go for that. Okay, d7. Okay, Havaniola's king is starting to walk a little bit here. Okay, now what's the deal with queen to e7? Okay, Dan. Now, Dan, if I take back the bishop, what's happening? I don't know if taking back the bishop is the right move. Looking at the things to do here, h3, bishop h5, pawn takes f5, f6. Well, okay, I'm gonna try h3 and see if I can trap this bishop. All right, now I gotta see what's happening with rook to c8 with Stama. I'm wondering about bishop takes b6 and try and work on that c pawn. Okay, like I said with future GM, both our kings are coming towards the center. Stama took back, of course, and now I'm going to see. I was thinking about knight e3 stuff. a4. To put a knight on b5. Interesting. And I think I'm going to try a4 and see if I can put the knight on b5. Okay, Havaniola's king is starting to walk here. So rook f1 check, king e4, queen takes. Boy, I don't know. I mean, if there's no mate there, I would be surprised, but you never know. Okay, rook check it is. Okay, bishop g4 attacking my queen from Trivial Pursuit. And I shall just go, let's see, well, knight c4. No, knight c4 doesn't bother me. So queen to d2. Okay, Havaniola, queen takes e6, looks right. Chess 24 has locked with f6. And now I thought my bishop was going to be strong in this diagonal. I'm going to try bishop to h3. Rook takes d1 from future GM, and I go rook takes d1 also. And Havaniola's king is really walking here. All right, so now, what's the best way to do this? Rook to d1 check. Where's his king go? Rook to d1 check looks nice. Queen d3 against Jesus Reigns. Queen c6 from chess 24, and I'm going to do bishop f5. And Eternal Warrior is the game where I hung the pawn. I b4, I left it there for too long. And now I'm looking to see how can I bother him. I'm going to try to bother him with rook to c1. Just I have pressure. It's not the end of the world to be down the pawn. But it wasn't the best thing to do that. All right, f5. I'm going to go bishop f3 against future GM. I don't want that knight to bother me. Duke Bishop's playing a solid game. I'm going to go rook d1. Seems like a sensible move. I'm going to go knight b5 against Stamma. Future GM's coming up with his king. I came up with my king, and now I'm going to try pawn to g4 and see if I can open up the board for my bishops. Chess 24 has castled on the queen's side. I'm going to go rook h1, see if I can get in there. And Jesus Reigns has done bishop, rook to d4. And if I go queen takes d4 and rook f8, is that just good for me? I'm looking. Queen is very confusing. I could also play it safe. I think I'm going to play it safe with bishop takes. Let's see, bishop takes d4, rook takes d7. And I do something like I move my queen and he takes with the pawn, say. Really want to go queen takes d4. Queen. Okay, if I go queen, I think I'm gonna go queen takes d4, and then rook e8 check. Okay, rook takes c4 from Stamma. Did I just snatch a pawn? That's the game I was worried about, and now it doesn't look so bad. Okay, queen e8 from Ears, and Ears is trying to improve his knight. I was trying to get into e6. I'm going to try queen to d1 and see if I could bother him a little bit from the side. Now, chess 24, I'm going to try to hassle him. I'm going to try rook to h7 and see if that bothers him a little bit. Okay, Eternal Warrior has gone rook ac8. And I'm going to play, I think I'm just going to go, I'm looking at ideas here. I want to bother him. So I was looking at takes on b5 and then maybe rook a6 or something. Okay, I'm gonna try to annoy him. I'm gonna take on b5 and see what's going on there. I hung a pawn, but I'm lucky that when I hung the pawn, I still have some pressure. So interesting games all around. Might have won one game already, not sure. Knight c6 from Nejmadinov, and now I'm looking at various things here. Knight b5, I don't know. Knight b5, what happens on knight b5 is a good question. Interesting ideas all over the place here. Bishop to d2, is he trying to castle? Let's see. Is he trying to castle? Is a good question. So I'm looking at knight to b5, and then what does he do after that? Maybe just bishop to d2 for me. There's a lot of ideas here, and if he castles, can I go d5? Bother his bishop. Maybe take on e5. I think I'm going to go bishop to d2, and just go slowly there. Okay, now against Trivial Pursuit, queen e7 looks okay, getting his queen over there. I'm going to try h3. Make him back his bishop up, and see if I could, I don't know, maybe get a knight towards f4 or something like that. Okay, knight d5 from future GM, and now if I go b5, what's happening? Is knight c3 bothering me? I could try. What's this bishop ending like? If I go pawn takes pawn and bishop takes pawn, and then rook c1 or something like that. I'm not sure that that's any kind of winning chances. So pawn takes pawn. Also, bishop opposite color with knight c3 are possibilities for him also. So he's got some ideas here, that some solid looking ideas. I'm wondering if I should go rook to c1 or something like that just to stop it. So I'm going to try rook to c1. I don't think I've gotten any kind of advantage here. So it is the bishop pair, but it's not much doing. Okay, now I'm going to go b3 against Trivial Pursuit just to keep a knight out of c4. For some reason, knight c4 is bothering me. I don't know why. I think b3 is probably unnecessary, but let's just do it anyway. Knight c4, I'd always have e5 check, so I probably didn't need it, but it felt like the right move anyway. Maybe it's meeting b5 or something like that, but I think it looks okay. All right, bishop e7 from Stammer, and I'm going to go rook to c1 and see if he wants to trade everybody off. And maybe I have some queen c7 threats. Okay, bishop takes h3 from Dan, and I'm very happy to take this bishop on h3. And then he took on f4, and I think I'm very happy to do something like queen to f4. Good defense, combining defense with a little bit of threats, I hope. Okay, now hold on, Eternal Warrior. Is this the right thing for you to do? Give me 2 rooks for the queen. Let's see. I'm happy to do that. And we'll see if my rooks, I feel like my rooks are very strong there, and you have 2 connected passed pawns that I have to deal with. Okay, bishop d6 from future GM. And I think I'm threatening to take on b4 with the knight. Yes, with the knight, not with the bishop. With the knight threatening to take it. So what can I do here? All right, I'm going to try rook to d1 again, although I don't know. I'm a little worried. I was thinking about rook c4 kind of stuff. Let me do and future GM has offered me a draw, but I think I'm going to try rook to c4. Okay, now rook e d8 from Duke Bishop, solid. And I'm going to do let's see, if I don't want to take on f6, I don't think. I'm going to try. I wonder when he's going to try knight into e4 is a good question. That's what I'm looking for here. All right, I'm going to go king to f1. Okay, rook h7, knight to c8 from chess 24. And hold on, what happened to chess 24 here? What happens with rook takes h8? And now the Stammer game, my job here is to figure out how to break through. I have a passed pawn. I think I'm just going to bring my king up. Trivial Pursuit has moved his king back, and now I'm going to go bishop to h2, and now let's see what's happening here against Eternal Warrior. I'm looking at rook to a8 to just immediately hassle that pawn. Castles from Nezhmadimov, and now I'm looking to see what sort of moves do I have here. d5, he takes it, so that's not right. I think I'm just going to go rook to e1 and just continue to develop and see, maybe to keep him bottled up. King e8 from Trivial Pursuit. Trivial Pursuit's king's making a run for it. Okay, now I'm going to see if I could have people ready waiting for him when he gets there. So I'm going to go rook to b1. Okay, f4 from future GM. And now, all right, if I go e4, I don't know. e4 doesn't really feel right. Rook to d4. Let's see what's happening here. Rook check. It was a good draw offer that he made, but I don't know. There's still some play in the position, so I think I'll try to continue. And it's an interesting game. I really don't know what's going on. Rook e4 check. All right, I'm going to try rook e4 check first to see where his king goes. Okay, so Stam is coming up with his king. I'm coming up with my king. Everybody's coming up with their kings. All right, now Dan has gone queen e7. My king's safe. I'm just making sure I don't drop my pawn on h3, and I'm going to go rook to e1 and bother his e-pawn. b5 from Trivial Pursuit. I'm going to capture on b5. I'm after his king. Knight to b8 from Eternal Warrior. I'm going to go rook to a7 check. Bishop c5 from Stam. And now my mission here is to get in here somehow. I'm gonna go pawn to b3. Make sure everything's on black. Make sure nothing can be taken. Okay, now what's happening here? Future GM, I just did check to see where his king was going to go. And now I'm thinking of just going bishop to d2 and protecting my stuff. Okay, so pawn takes b5 from Trivial Pursuit, and now what's my next thing? I'm thinking about going rook back to a1 to maybe bother him with rook a7. So good games all around. I don't feel like I'm in danger in any of them. There's a couple of messies, but I don't think I'm in any danger. Rook d7 from Duke Bishop looks like a good move. And now I got to see what's going to happen here. I'm going to go h3. I think that position is probably equal. Bishop h6 from ears looks like a good move. And, well, I don't know. I'm going to go bishop to a4. I was thinking he should have gone knight to d8. So I'm going to stick my bishop on e6 and see if it bothers him. Okay, now king to g8 from Eternal Warrior, and I'm going to go rook to c1 and really try to get my rooks going here. All right, now what's this? The king and pawn ending against Stama looks pretty easy for me, so I think I'm going to put my knight in the way of his bishop. DVS has gone rook to d8 to defend his d pawn. That seems like a good idea. And now I'm wondering what to do here. Pawn takes c6 to try and weaken him a little bit. I don't know if I could leave that. I don't know if I could leave this pawn there. I was thinking about just going rook to c3 or something, or queen to c2 perhaps, something like that. All right, I'm going to try queen to c2. I feel like my king side with the bishop on g3 is defended well enough. Okay, now Dan has gone e3, and I'm thinking about just trying to surround his pawn and playing rook to f3. Pawn to b5 from future GM. And now he's threatening to take on a4. So I think that I must play a5 myself. And I'm going to do against Duke Bishop, king e2 looks right. And future GM has offered me a trade of rooks, and I think that I must do that. So I'm going to trade the rooks. Against ears, I'm going to stick my bishop into c6 and see if it does anything. And c4 from Trivial Pursuit. And I'm just going to go b4 and try and keep that locked and still bother him with some rook f7. Bishop d6, and now my b pawn is hanging sometimes against future GM. I'm wondering in this position if I should just go bishop takes d5 and make a draw. I don't know. I think I might do that. Well, I think future GM has offered me a draw. I think it's a sensible draw for. It was a solid game. I thought I was a little better there, but I think a draw is the right thing to do there. Rook to b8 from ears, and now let me see. Is knight to d8 bothering me? I'm wondering, because I'm trying various ideas. My knight on e4 looks nice. It's protecting everybody. Okay, I'm going to go queen to a4, and bishop c5 from Stama, and I'm going to go knight to d1 and go to e3 and try and get into f5. Okay, now Eternal Warrior has gotten his passed pawns going. Are they bothering me yet? I'm going to go knight to f4 and see if I can make some threats against his king. Bishop to d8. Nejmadinov has moved his king his bishop out of the way. Seems like a good idea. And now I'm looking to see if I could do something with my knights. I'm looking at d5. I'm not sure I like d5. Maybe Nejmadinov has come out of this in some sort of pretty good shape, actually. So I think I'm going to try knight to e2. Okay, Ears has gone knight to d8. And I'm going to try, it's a little bit controversial. I was thinking of doing bishop to d7. Bishop to b5 doesn't look bad either, and bishop to b5 isn't hanging anything. So I think I'm just going to do bishop to b5, and I feel like everything is okay there. Okay, Dan has offered me a trade of queens on e5. First of all, I have to look at this. What's the score here? If I trade on e5 and take, he's got 2 pawns. I could take on f. No, I think taking on e5 has got to be the right thing to do. Okay, now knight f5 from DVS, and what happened is, can I go queen takes f5? DVS was defending well there, and now I think he's hung a knight, so I will take that knight. Dan, I'm going to trade rooks on e3, and now Stama, I have to see here, is this knight e3 a winning king and pawn ending or what? I would sort of be surprised if it wasn't, but I mean, you never know. Stranger things have happened. Okay, knight to e3. And want to go into f5 and just bother him. Maybe go for maybe there's some zugzwangs once, if he doesn't take the knight and his bishop goes to f8. So one draw already. Okay, Eternal Warrior has gone bishop to d7. And now I'm trying to keep him tied up here. He's got these pawns going. I think that rook to c7 looks like right. Keep him tied up here. Okay, rook takes e3 from Dan. Rook takes e3 back. He has 2 pawns, but no pass pawns. His f pawn and d pawn are not beautiful, so I feel very good about this position. I don't think I've ever had a Simal where I haven't lost one. And okay, so now Stama has gone bishop f8, and I will go king to c4, and I don't know. I mean, I feel like this has to be a fairly easy win for me. Okay, bishop h6 from Trivial Pursuit. And I'm looking, where should my queen go here? Queen f7? Queen f2, excuse me, hitting f6. Now, I don't even know if I want to take f6 because that would trade the queens. But, well, I don't know. Maybe I could get some action on his d-pawn while that's going on. So maybe taking on f6 would be okay. All right, knight f5 against Stama. And we got to see here. I feel like he's going to be in zugzwang any second. And king b5. Is that zugzwang? So I thought he had a very good game there, and I'm not sure that he needed to go knight d3 and give that pawn back when he did. But I was getting some nice counterplay there with the bishop coming to h3. But I don't know. I mean, once I got my pawn back, I felt like I was better. I had a good knight versus bad bishop possibilities and other things. Okay, got Trivial Pursuit to go bishop to g7. I'm looking to see f5 is never going to bother me, so I think I should stick my rook down to a7 and start to tie him up a little bit. I don't see any activity for Trivial Pursuit. Okay, so we got a rook e8 from Nezhmadimov, and now where do I put my queen? I was thinking of going to f4. Now, Nezhmadinov's getting himself into time pressure. I feel okay there. Now, hold on. I just snatched a pawn on g7 against Stama. Feels like a nice pawn to snatch. I also had a5 there, but how can knight takes g7 not be a good move? So it looks like we're thinking about coverage. I hope we cover the English tournament. That's a good tournament every year in London. Okay, and now we have king d7, and I go knight back to f5 against Stama. King g7 from Dan, and I'm thinking about knight to e4 to start to bother him a little bit. Rook to e7, go on submission. I could bring my king up too. I think I like knight to e4. Okay, here come Eternal Warrior's pawns. Now, hold on, as they say. Bishop to b5. Oh, bishop to b5 or bishop takes f5. The idea is to get rid of that bishop and take on g7. Maybe. All right. So how does that work? And then if I get g7, am I doing something? I'm not sure. Bishop analyzing. Bishop takes b5. Rook takes g7. King over, and then knight g6 check. I don't know. It might be more sensible for me to just go rook to b7 and hold up the pawns like that. I think that's more sensible. Rook on 6 to b7 looks like a, and then maybe set something up. a5 from Duke Bishop, and Duke Bishop's doing okay here, and I think I'm going to go rook to d3. Okay, King f8 from Dan, and now let's see. I'm looking at knight to f6. Looks good. Try and keep rook trades out. Maybe snatch another pawn. Queen d8 from Trivial Pursuit. All right, now I got to see. Queen somehow taking on e5 at the right moment seems like the right thing to do. Trivial Pursuit would like to play Queen b6 and force the queens off, and I don't want the queens to go off. So is bishop takes the right move here? I'm looking at force and continuations. I'm not so sure that it's the right thing to do. Maybe I'll go. I think I'm going to go rook to a6 and see how he defends his d pawn. And I feel like his king is still in some danger here. Knight d5 from Nejmadinov. And now, let's see. I was going to go queen to f2. And I'm looking at this. Is this bishop h4? Does it bother me? Is a good question. Nejmadinov has come up with some interesting stuff here. Queen f2 and back to g3, and then he moves his bishop back. I don't know. It's a little worrisome there. So I'm gonna try it and see. I'm just gonna go queen to f2 and see what happens there. It's kind of a short position. I might be able to go knight g3 and play like that because of the back rank situations there. So let's see. All right, he's getting into time pressure. Always a good thing when your opponent gets into time pressure. Okay, we have Ears. Ears has gone queen e7. And now I'm thinking of snatching a pawn on a7. Can I snatch a pawn on a7 and run away? That's what I'm trying to figure out here. All right, I'm going to snatch this pawn on a7. A little dangerous, but we'll see what happens. Queen c7 from Trivial Pursuit. And defending his pawn, and now I'm looking at stuff like queen to g3. How does he defend something like this? Let me see queen to g3. Okay, Ears has gone knight f7, so maybe Ears is taking, trying to get rid of my strong knight, and I'm gonna go get my queen out of there while I can and go queen to a4. Dan is getting his pawns going, but I don't know how worried I am about that. I'm thinking of just maybe going knight h7. Also, there's a possibility of breaking them up. I don't know. I mean, knight to d7 might be a good move. I'm going to go knight to d7 and mess up his king a little bit and then see if I could do something. Okay, knight d5 from Nejmadinov, and I'm just going to go c3. Okay, knight g5 from Ears, it is, and then I'm going to now, keeping an eye out for tactics. I'm going to go queen to c2, and Ears has these knights all over my face, and I'm going to try to keep them from bothering me. Okay, king h8 from Trivial Pursuit. And now I'm thinking of bringing my knight around to f4. c5 from Duke Bishop, and I'm going to go rook to d1, and I'm holding that position. He's doing well there. Queen takes e4 against Ears. I'm just trying to defend myself here, and then I'm going to see if I don't get mated suddenly, I'm going to push my a pawn. And I told you earlier, my students think I'm nuts because I'm telling them pass pawns. Pass pawns are like money. You got to hang on to them. Well, all right, but so good Simal, been going for about an hour and a half. And yeah, I mean, the good thing about snatching the a7 pawn against Ears is I'm just going to go for the mindless a4, a5, and then it's up to him to try to do something to me. All right, hold on. Eternal Warrior is pushing his passed pawns, and now I'm going to go rook. I'm going to win his knight for nothing, and then I'm going to see if I could do something to him afterwards. All right, now what's going on here against Dan? Against Dan, I was thinking of trying to break up his pawns with something like, I mean some move like a4 to break them up, but I don't know. Maybe it's not necessary for me to do that. I'm wondering, are there any? Can I concoct any kind of mate here? All right, I'm going to bring against Dan. I'm going to bring my king up to g2 and get my king involved. Maybe at some point I can set up some mate if I'm lucky. Okay, what's happening here? Nejmadinov, bishop f6. I'm going to go knight to g3. I feel like I'm doing it right there. Ears is setting something up here. I can smell it, and he's setting something up on f2. So how do I stop that? I think I'm going to try rook f1 and just to be extra safe. Okay, rook h6 from Trivial Pursuit. And now I got to see what's the deal here. How do I bother him? I'm looking at knight to d4. Looks nice. Maybe I can hassle him a little bit. I think I'm going to go queen to e3 and try and bother him in some other way there, and just to stop trades and maybe keep an eye on whether rook a7 does something. Okay, here we go from Eternal Warrior. Eternal Warrior has just gone a2, and now let's see what I do here. I take on. I think I take with the rook on. Rook takes b8. He can't go king h7. Okay, now let's see what Duke Bishop game is getting sharp in the ending. I'm going to trade the bishops. And he's getting into a little bit of time pressure. And then I have to see, he trades the bishops, and then I'm looking to see what am I doing after that. He's got me tied a little bit to my f2 pawn. I'm looking at d5. I don't know. I mean, d5, my pawn structure gets a little weird. I do get a pass pawn, but his king is close. Let's see. Pawn to b3 doesn't make any sense. King to e3 feels like something that could be a good move. Although he can't do f4 check, I don't think. Okay, Nejmadinov has gone queen back to f7, and I will go knight to e4. Let's see. And Ears, I got Ears to go knight back to e7. And does he have any threats? Anything doing on f2? No, I'm just going to try to push my a pawn. King g8 from Trivial Pursuit. He's doing a good job at defending his king. He's running around with his king. It's not bad. Okay, I'm looking at bishop to f4. Does that do something? Then maybe my idea would be to try and bother him his h pawn. All right, I'm going to try bishop to f4. Doubling rooks on the a file feels good. I like this position. I just haven't found a way to break through yet. Okay, now, Dan might have been in a hurry here to push his pawns. I'm gonna go knight to b6 and see if I could just take my pawn on c4, and then after that, I think it should be winning easy. Rook g6 from Trivial Pursuit seems right. Okay, and now I'm just gonna go rook to a1. It seems like I can't do anything there. Okay, now Dan is doing some business here. Let's see if I could stop these pawns. Dan has gone taken on. He's gone b2, so he's doing some nice tricks there to stop the pawns. Now I got to see here. I'm thinking about going pawn takes. Let me go pawn takes c. Well, I don't know. If I go pawn takes b4 first, and he takes on b2, I have rook b3, right? So that feels okay. So I'm going to take on b4 first. I could lose this, actually. It's gotten a little strange. Okay, now let's see against Nejmadinov. He went rook e7, and he's down to 53 seconds. I like the looks of knight takes f6, getting the bishop pair. Okay, now Dan, pawn takes c3, and he gets a rook check. Very confusing here. All right, I'm just going to take on c3. Bishop to d2 from ears, hitting that pawn. And what if I just defend with, let's see, if I defend, can he get bishop to c3 and start to get a bishop to d4 maybe? Maybe I should just do a5 and try and make a queen and just give up the pawn. Not sure. All right, I think I'm going to keep the pawn with bishop to a3. Okay, bishop to g. I was thinking about bishop g5 against Nejmadinov. Got a little pressure there. King f6 coming up. Duke bishop's gone king f6. Certainly seems like a sensible move. And now I'm wondering if I could ever, if I'm trying to pry him open with something like g4. It's a really interesting ending. Bishop c3 from ears, and I'm going to go rook to d1. Something just occurred to me that I could go bishop to d7 here, but I'm not sure. I think I'm just going to go rook to d1. And rook takes e1 from Nejmadinov. I will recapture with the rook. And bishop to f8 from Trivial Pursuit, who's defending. He's defending really tough here. So I'm looking at rook a7s. I'm looking at knight g3s. The thing about knight g3, okay, I'm gonna try knight g3. I'm gonna see. I'm after that h pawn. Pawn takes d4 from Duke bishop, and I'm gonna trade off all the rooks. And Duke bishop's playing tough. This is a very tough game, and he's getting in a little bit of time pressure. Okay, now against Dan, I have to see, did I screw this up? I have to go knight to c4. And I think I went knight to c4. The board just changed all of a sudden. Sorry. I think I went knight to c4. I hope I went knight to c4. Okay, Nejmadinov, what's happening? How does he recapture? I have the bishop pair, so I'm happy. Hold on, Nejmadinov. Can I go bishop takes h7? Okay, h4 from Trivial Pursuit, and now my knight goes back, and there's a lot of maneuvering here with this knight. Now I'm trying to win his h pawn in another way. Okay, Trivial Pursuit. I think I'll just trade the queens and be happy to be up a pawn. Rook takes d4, knight takes d4 from Duke bishop. Where should I back my bishop up to? I'm just going to go to d3 against Nejmadinov. Happy to be up a pawn with the bishop pair. So it looks like a lull in the action. I hope the boards are working okay. I haven't heard anything. Cybernian, it says disconnected. I didn't notice that, so maybe the game doesn't exist. Okay, knight b2 from Dan, and I'm going to go knight takes b2, and I don't, and I just think it's I'm not winning here by any means. Let me see. I was thinking of going knight to b1, but knight to d2. But who knows what this is? I mean, it's a messy move. I think I have to take, and I think it's just a draw now. So I didn't do a good job of that one. Okay, knight e7 from Nezhmadinov, and I'm gonna just go knight to e3. Try and box his knights out. And now against Dan, I just think that I think it's probably just a draw here. He could even be better, but I doubt it. Let me bring my king up. So it happens. All right, knight d6 from Duke Bishop, and I'm going to go b3, protect my stuff. Maybe I can get some go with the pass pawns. Ears wants to trade queens. Okay, I think I'm going to do it. I'll trade the queens, and he's going to bother me on f2. All right, so what I'm trying to do the down here is I have another idea. His king is cut off in the rook ending, so I'm going to see if anything can happen with that. All right, Ears has done a nice job here of stalling my pass pawn. So what is my next thing to do? I have to make sure I don't get attacked on f2 too much. So, but if I don't want to play something like f3, then I'm getting worried about some weak squares. So, let me see if I could just go maybe rook to d3 against Ears. Get that bishop away from that pawn, maybe get in there. Rook to b7 from Trivial Pursuit. And I think I'm going to try knight to g1. Nezhmadinov c6. I'm up a pawn here. It seems sensible to come up with the king. So the game I really screwed up was against Dan, where I was just up a piece, and I've done things like that before in the simals. Simul technique, not so good. All right. Now, Ears' bishop is in a very useful spot now. It's doing some attacking. I'm going to go bishop to c1. Now, Nezhmadinov, do I want to go for a knight ending? I think I'm going to take on e7 and go bishop f5. So I cash the bishop pair in. All right, now Dan's king is cut off, but he could get a pass pawn going. So I don't know. I mean, I could try to run around and maybe. All right, I don't know. I mean, I'm going to try to go king to get my king in there or something. All right, bishop f5 from Nezhmadinov, trying to win the pawn ending. F4 check from Duke Bishop. So he's trying to get his pawns going now. King to d3 must be right for me. Okay, now Trivial Pursuit is going queen c8, so he's getting ready for some sack, so I can't go knight f3, but I'll go rook a8 first. See where he goes with his king. e5 from Duke Bishop, as we thought, and now I got to see. His king is, let's see, I have pass pawn possibilities here. I'm thinking of going c5 myself here. And what is that situation? Okay, I'm going to try c5 myself. f5 from Dan. Dan's getting his pawn going. I'm going to go rook to the 8th. And rook to b8 from Trivial Pursuit. And I'm going to take on b8. Okay, bishop e6 from Nezhmadinov, attacking my pawn on a2, and I think I'm just going to go a3, protect all my stuff. Let's see, Trivial Pursuit, I'm going to go knight f3 and try to take that h-pawn. e4 check from Duke Bishop, and now where does my king go? I think it should probably go back to e2, just in case there's queening tricks. d5 from Nezhmadinov, and I'm going to go g4 and see if I can get my pass pawn going. Simal's been going, a couple hours, good games. I feel like I messed up against Dan, but I mean, I don't usually in a tournament game. If you look at my games, my technique isn't bad. Okay, Nejmedinov has gone knight to e8, and now I'm thinking of going. I'm thinking about g5 to get my passed pawn going. I'm going to bring my king up. King f3. Okay, rook d2 from Dan, and let's see what to do here. I'm going to try king to c4. Getting greedy here. I'm not really sure what's going on in this game now. Knight d6 from Nejmedinov, and I'm going to trade the bishops on e6, and then go king f4, and then see if I can get my pawns going. See if I could just push. Okay, so now Duke Bishop has gone knight to c8, and I'm wondering if I want to go c6 here. c6, trying to make a pass pawn. My problem with this position with Duke Bishop is that his king is coming up fast. So how do I, that's the thing that's bothering me here. All right, I'm going to try c6. I'm not really sure about it. Okay, here comes Dan with f4. And now I'm going to see what to do here. I'm going to try, I'm looking at rook to g4 against Dan. And I still want to keep his king cut off. But if I go rook to g4 and then he gets his pawn to f2 fast, not happy about that. What about me going rook to d8 and trying to snatch this pawn? f3 takes. I'm going to try it. I could lose this game, and that would be not good because it was, let's face it, it should have been an easy win. Okay, so I'm going to go knight b5 on Duke Bishop. It's getting sharp in the ending. And on Nejmedinov, I'm just going to try to make pass pawns. Let's see. Dan is coming up with his king. I'm going to go put my rook behind his pawn. And then we're going to see what kind of deal can we get there. All right, now what's happening here with ears? I'm going to go, if I go bishop to e3 and he goes knight f5, his knight on f5 is bothering me a little bit. So I think I'm going to try, I have to be careful. He's coming up with rook f8. Maybe I should go, I'm going to try bishop to d7. Okay, king e5 from Duke Bishop. And I think I'm going to try c7. Tie his knight up at least, and maybe if his king comes over, get some knight c3 stuff. I don't know. It might be a draw. King g7 from ears, and I will go bishop e6. And I'm trying just to transpose in some nice, easy ending against ears. Okay, I'm going to try bishop to e3. Get rid of those bishops. And I'm still dreaming about a passed a pawn. And it's a good dream, but we'll see how it turns out. Okay, f5 from Duke Bishop. Interesting. And do I have to take that? Now, there's no way for me to just launch his knight. So, all right, I think I should take on f5. Okay, a5 from Nejmedinov, and now what's he trying to do? Is there ever a knight f2 idea for him? So that's what I'm on the lookout for. I want to make sure my pawns are defended on that side. So should I go h5? Bishop takes e3 from ears, and I'm going to take with the rook. Okay, now, queen c8 from Trivial Pursuit, and I think I'm going to snatch this h-pawn. Ears, I'm going to try to take on f5, because that knight would drive me crazy in there. All right, now, against Duke Bishop, how do I want to do this? Knight c3 to keep him tied to that pawn seems like a sensible thing to do. And I'm still thinking that game could be a draw. All right, now against Duke, do I want to play I'm thinking about rook to a7 again. I have to be careful. He has a c-pawn lurking in these positions, so I have to be a little careful about that. Okay, now Nejmadinov has gone king f6, and can I go g5 check? Okay, rook f4 from ears, good move, and I have to go rook to c3 and defend my stuff. Okay, from Duke Bishop, king to e5, and I'm trying to figure out. I mean, I'm thinking that I'm just trying to draw here, so I'm gonna go king to d2, and I mean his king's a little more aggressive than mine, but he has to still be a little careful. I think I'm gonna try for just a hassle his e and f pawns, and maybe that's enough to make a draw. All right, here we go against Dan. Really sharp position. I'm gonna go rook to rook behind the pawn, of course. And his king is coming up. And I'm going to try and queen my pawn. Now, I could go d6. Let me see. d6, king g3, and then I have to go king c5. So it probably comes to be the same thing. So do I want to go? Let me go d6. And let's see. So now the pawn went to c3 in the Trivial Pursuit game. But now, okay, if I go rook, let me go rook back to c3 and see if I could round this. Well, rook to c3, not good because knight c4. So now I must be a little careful here. I see ideas he might have of his queen getting into my position. I think I'm going to try. I think I'm just going to go king to h2 and stay away from stuff. Okay, Duke Bishop, I'm going to go knight e2 check. Let's see, Nejmadinov, should I just push my passed pawns and get my king into his queen side? Does that make sense? All right, I'm going to do that. Duke Bishop looks like could be a draw here. Just trying to hassle his pawns. There's no way for me to unblockade his knight on c8. So, just looking to see. It's and his king is just so aggressively placed, and it's guarding stuff. And if I did something weird, his king probably runs around. I could lose d6 for nothing. Okay, let's see. Nejmadinov, I'm going to take the pawn back. Ears has attacked my f pawn, and now I'm looking to see just rook to c2, I guess. All right, looks like we're heading for a draw by repetition with Duke Bishop. And now let's see what happens here with Dan. Dan, I'm bringing my king up. He's bringing his king up. I don't have a clue what's happening. Okay, now I have to see what happens with Nejmadinov. I'm thinking of just losing my pawn and getting my king in there. Knight f5. What about knight f5? I'm going to try knight f5 and then see if everything can stay protected. Okay, king got to g2 in the Dan game. And so now he's going to win. He's going to win the pawn. Let's see. So I got to see here. I push my passed pawns. All right, I'm going to try this king c6. Rook to d4, and I'm going to push my pawns against ears. And now I think it's got to be a draw here. I mean, I'm going to go knight here, and then I think it's a repetition. Okay, now let's see what's happening here to Nejmadinov. I'm going to run in with my king, and he's going to try and bother my pawns. So I'm going to run in with my king, and then he's got to bother my pawns. Dan made a queen. I took it. Okay, now we got to see what's going on. It's getting messy. Pass pawns for everybody. H5, okay. I'm going to go pawn up, and we're going to see who's queening here first. What's going on? Okay, h4 from Nezhmadinov. And now I'm wondering if I should just go knight to d6. Okay, now what's this race in the Dan game? I'm gonna go. I'm gonna make a queen, and I don't know. Maybe it's a draw anyway. Pawn takes. I'm got my passed pawn against ears, so that's good. That ties up his rook. His rook's gonna have to go to a8 soon, and then we'll see what to do. He can't get active. All my stuff's protected. No back ranks. Okay, now Nezhmadinov, I thought he had to keep knights on the board. I mean, isn't it over here? Now Nezhmadinov, I don't know what happened there. I mean, okay, the Dan game. Okay, ears just went e4. I'm gonna push my pawn to a7. I mean, if I'm sorry, Nezhmadinov, you can't offer me a draw in a position like this. That's very bad. That's not good. Maybe you did it by accident, but it's not good. Okay, the Dan game has gone down to nothing. All right, now a7 against ears feels like the right move. I have to see. Bringing my king up to e3 is not bad. His king is trying to come up also. All right, I'm going to go a7. Feels right. King e4, and now let's see. If he gets my b2 pawn, all right, I'm going to go king to here. That looks all right. Check, trades the queens against Dan, and it just moved. Okay, so trade queens and king against king. Well, Dan hung very tough in that game because I think I was, it looked pretty winning there, and then all of a sudden I did something not so good. All right, what's happening to Trivial Pursuit here? I'm still wondering about, you see, I mean, I can't go, I would love to go rook a3, but I keep getting forked, and so it doesn't feel right to go rook a3. What about knight to f3 to unblockade? I'm making sure that there's nothing going on with bishop takes h3. Interesting. Okay, bishop, yep, knight f3 looks okay for me, trying to get out of the way. Rook to d3 from ears, and now I'm going to go rook to b2. Okay, king to a4 from Nezhmadinov. And I'm just going to push my pawn. And I mean, if people want to play in these simul's, it's okay. I don't know if Nezhmadinov meant to offer a draw, but he did offer me a draw there after knight takes d6. I don't know. I just think Nezhmadinov, sometimes his openings are a little bit too unsound. I mean, it just does not feel right. Ears, I was going to go rook to b8, and that was it. So I think I just took a pawn and managed to just hang on, and play normal moves. And eventually the pawn won the game. Okay, Trivial Pursuit's thinking. So far, I don't think I've got any losses, so not bad. I hope I don't jinx myself, but seems like I could have a chance for one of my first timers where I have not lost any games. That's not easy. With everybody's tough, and there's some tough games. Chess 24, I might have hung something. Okay, now let's see what's happening here. Trivial Pursuit is getting ready for a queen g6 thing. I don't know. I feel like somehow that I should be able to snatch c3. How do I want to do it, though? Knight takes e5 first, and then go bishop to g3. And then he's tied to d7. I think I can. I think. Although, hold on here. Let's see. Knight takes e5. I have to look out for bishop h6 ideas is certainly hanging around there too. So all right, I'm gonna go knight takes e5. Trivial Pursuit. I don't know. What does he take it back with? Took back with the D pawn. And now I was going to go bishop to H6. And what kind of ideas does he have? I thought rook takes G2, but then my rook on A7 might really drive him crazy. It might be enough to win the game for me. But if he doesn't do that, then what's going to happen? He's in a little bit of time pressure, under 4 minutes, but you get the increments, so it's okay. So we have a minute. I'm not sure how this cycle works with this when Magnus plays again. It seems like he's been defending his title every year just about. Maybe he'll get a year off where he could just play in tournaments and have a little fun. Because these matches, there was just too much pressure there. Incredible pressure on those guys. So what's happening here? Trivial Pursuit. Don't know. Rook takes G2, King G2, Bishop H6. Queen takes C3. I think my king is pretty safe, I think, and he's got that pin with the rook on A7. Looks like it's gonna bother him enough. So he can keep the pin, but then I'm happy if he just loses his C pawn for nothing. I think that's got to be nice for me. Okay, looks like I want to go bishop takes F8. I mean, it was a hard decision for him. I mean, it might have been lost either way, so if he went rook takes G2, but I thought with my king open, but his bishop is pinned, so I think that was going to be pretty easy for me. But this one, I feel like it's nice for me too. I mean, am I just taking on C3 on the next move? And now, can he find some way to bother me here? I don't know. I mean, I guess he could try to run around with his queen. I don't know if he gets. Maybe he could try to get a queen to F4, but I think I could stop that pretty easily with queen F3. And then it's the same business as before. He's pinned, so I think queen F3 looks okay. And then maybe I try to get my bishop into D3 or something. He's got to look out for queen H5 ideas in some cases. Well, I don't know. I mean, we'll see. It's I think I might be threatening rook takes D7 and queen F5 could be a problem. And then where would he go with his king? Then I have to be a little careful that there's no perpetual there if I take D7. So, that's another story. So I have to see where to put my bishop. Sometimes he can get like a queen F4, queen E3, queen C1 kind of thing, and then I have to run all around with my king. I could go to G3 and get mated with queen F4. Yeah, I saw my friend Mark Ginsburg played in the senior championship, and I think I might have to go for that one of these days just to see. All right, so queen G5 from Trivial Pursuit. And now, let's see, what is he trying to do to me here? I'm thinking about just going bishop to D3. I'm maybe thinking about going bishop to D1. All right, I'm going to do bishop to D1. There's no real tricks here. He can't move his bishop because I'll trade the queens. And I'm just trying to protect against his queen bothering me too much here, perpetual checks, stuff like that. So, and sometimes I can go bishop g4. If I could trade everything, I'd be happy here because I think my d pawn wins then. Protected pass pawn for in a pawn ending must be really good. So let's see what's going on here. I think it's fairly pretty much under control here for me. I don't know if he could. No, I don't. That rook on the 7th, it's just tying up all the pieces so much. Okay, so now he may have a threat here. Okay. Bishop g4 could be a threat, so I got to be a little careful about how I do this. I'm thinking of offering him a queen trade on g3. And then I could see if I could get my bishop g4 ideas going. A bishop ending's got to be winning too. His king's on h6, and it's just got to be a d6, d7 winning the piece. Now, is there any way for him to keep the queens on here? I don't think so. Where could he put his queen? Queen d2? And then I got to see bishop g4. Looks like it could be really annoying. Or maybe some queen check and bishop h5 could be, well, I should be careful. Yeah, that's probably annoying too, queen h4 and bishop h5. If the rook gets chased to e7, then bishop g4 pin. Looks pretty nice. So let's see. Well, I mean, queen down to the bottom, maybe queen g8 could be good too. But I think I'm going to keep my queen near the king. I think that's where it needs to be. So I don't know. I think something with bishop g4 and then coming up is going to be pretty nice for me. With the pins, or at least the bishops gets traded, and then his king is still open, then I just have to make sure my queen doesn't wander off and I get perpetualed. Possible. So I think the only game I thought I played bad was against Dan, because I was just up a piece for nothing, and then he did a nice queening idea, and then I don't know. I thought for one move Dan might have had some way to bother my c pawn and maybe try to win, but I'm not sure. It needs to be looked at. Okay, rook g7 from Trivial Pursuit. I'm happy to trade the queens. Okay, now he's going to take him back with his king, and I'm happy to go bishop g4. And should that do it? That's trading stuff, pins. I think bishop g4 is a good move there. And I don't know. It seems like all the games are over, so it was actually a pretty fast simul today. Sometimes the simuls go 3 hours. Most of the games were good. I think I thought there was one game I had a bad game and I battled out of it. Okay, so now what is this? Give me rook takes d7. Rook g5 for Trivial Pursuit. I'm just going to go bishop to. Now, what's his idea here? Is he trying to get his king to f2 and make a perpetual or something? After the Dan game, I'm going to be really careful here. I can tell you that. So I'm looking at. I think I'm looking at. I'm going to do rook f7. And get my pawn to d7, and that's got to tie down some pieces. Okay, d6. After the Dan game, also I had a game a few months ago where I was up a piece also, and I just fell into something where the guy got to take my last pawn, and that was another stupidity. But when you're playing 20 people, I guess it's allowed. It's I don't really think it's an excuse, but it sounds good anyway. And here comes the d pawn, and if he goes f5, I'll just go bishop takes f5. So I think this one is under control. All right, he went rook back, and I think I'm just going to go rook takes f6. And just in case, I think I have an H pawn to bother him with. All right, I'm going to go D7, and now I'm threatening to win some stuff. And yeah, there's nothing to do here. Rook D8, Rook C6 to C8 is easy. So let's see, is the Simal done, or are there some games going? I don't think so. Down, we played to the end. Duke Bishop was a draw by repetition. Eternal Warrior, he got his passed pawns going, but my rooks got into his position. He took a pawn. I still had pressure, but then he changed. Letting me go queen takes rook. He shouldn't have done. Let's see. Stama, I thought had a good game, and then went wrong, and then it just became very nice for me with a good knight versus a bad bishop. DVS, weird game. I don't know. He battled back. He won a pawn. He got a kingside attack going, and then he just hung a piece with knight f5. I think in the final position, if he doesn't hang his knight, I think I like my position also. Let's see. Now, the draw was, let's see. It looked like it was the draw with future GM was a pretty solid draw. I thought I was better in the opening. Chess 24. I mean, he plays this opening, and after rook takes h8 on move 25, I get rook takes d7. It's winning, but it felt like he's got to do something about that opening because it just seems to be in control. Jesus reigns. I went queen takes d4 and had rook e8, and that one was going to win. And Havaniola was about to get mated and won. I did some. He snatched my f2 pawn, and then my knight, and my rook, and my queen just played great together and mated him. Heelan, there was too much maneuvering in a Stonewall Dutch. I felt like I was always better. I don't know what he did. He was moving his knight back and forth. Jay Russell says, if I want a life full of excitement, meaning and purpose, Jesus Christ, my Lord, thank you. Let's see. Jay Russell, I played that Kasparov thing against the Cambridge Springs, and I thought I didn't really know what I was doing, but I always had some compensation. And then all of a sudden, there was a win of a piece. Same thing with Spindock. Spindock just ran into a bad opening. If you're going to play those Nimzovich things, you got to be careful. Cyber Demon disconnected in a position where, well, I mean, I was going to go rook takes e8, and he was going to lose the exchange. So I think that was going to be, I think it was probably going to be winning for me because I get bishop d3 check. So queen g6 was the only move there. Cronius went for a kind of a bit of a hokey attack in a kind of a check Benoni position, and I just made a pass pawn, and that won the game. Pasqualino, I don't really understand what happened. I went bishop d5, and he adjourned, or somebody adjourned, and so I don't really know what was going on there. So it seems like there were some adjournments. So here's how the Simal went. 16 wins, 3 draws, no losses. Not bad. So thanks, everybody, for tuning in to watch the Simal, to play the Simal. Hopefully we have some interesting coverage coming up, and hope to see you guys down the road a bit. Very nice Simal. And Ears says, can't think of anyone rather lose to. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you in January. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays of whatever denomination you are, and Happy New Year. I'll see you guys in January SimulMaster ICC Simul. So thanks, everybody. This is John Fedorowicz for ICC December 2016. Happy birthday to my nephew John in Aachen, Germany. Take care, everybody. Have a good night, and happy holidays. Bye.